I'm Colby Raines, 45, living in Fort Collins, Colorado. For the past 2 decades, I worked industrial maintenance, fixing machines, patching up hydraulic systems, keeping production lines alive. It's not glamorous, but it's honest work, and it demands you pay attention to the little stuff, spot the warning signs before things fall apart. Turns out that skill matters way beyond machines. Maya and I were together more than 11 years. We met at a diner off Highway 287 back in 2013, when I was grinding through the graveyard shift at a food processing plant. She was waitressing, 30, working on becoming a medical assistant. We built a life together, or at least I thought we did. Those years weren't easy. Her student loans haunted us. Credit cards maxed out after emergencies, cars always breaking down. We scraped by, splitting rent on a cramped 2-bedroom above a Thai place. The smell of fish sauce in the hallway, every day. Together, we maybe cleared $55,000 a year, on a good year. But I believed in us. I thought we were pushing through all that for something better. Maya used to talk about the future. A house, a yard, maybe a dog, vacation someday. I clung to those dreams like blueprints. Then everything flipped. Early June 2024, I hit $10 million in the Colorado State Lottery. I remember sitting in my truck at lunch, double-checking the numbers on my phone. 6 numbers all lined up. My hands shook so much I dropped the phone twice. I called Maya right away, my voice all shaky. She screamed, then cried. She said all the right things. "We're free, Colby. We're finally free." For about a week, life felt perfect. We made lists, mostly sensible stuff. Pay off debt, buy a modest house, maybe help her sister with medical bills. Maya seemed happy. Or I wanted to believe she was. But soon things shifted. Subtle at first. Like a bearing starting to go before the whole thing seizes. She stopped really talking when I brought up our plans. I'd point out houses, she'd just nod, eyes glued to her phone. "Whatever you think is best," she'd mumble, barely listening. She started carrying her phone everywhere, even to the bathroom, always tilting the screen away, changed her password. When I asked about it, she said it was for security at work, something about HIPAA at the clinic. Then came the work trips. Maya never traveled for work before. She was at a tiny family practice. They could barely afford printer paper, let alone send staff to conferences. But suddenly, 3 trips in 6 weeks. Denver, Albuquerque, Santa Fe. Always last minute, always vague. "It's continuing education credits," she said one Thursday as she packed a duffel bag. "The clinic's covering it. I have to go, Colby." I just watched her pack. Watched her fold a black dress I'd never seen before. Tight, not her usual style for work stuff. Watched her tuck a new lipstick into her makeup bag. She kissed me goodbye at the door, and it felt like kissing a stranger. She came back from that 3rd trip with something different in her eyes, a distance that hadn't been there, not even during the worst times. She moved around the apartment like she was already gone, just biding her time until she could actually leave. Then one morning in late August, I woke up and she was just gone. No fight, no drama. Just a note on the counter, written on the back of a grocery receipt. "I need time to think. Don't look for me." Half her clothes gone, her toiletries, the photo of her mom she always kept on the nightstand. But all the stuff we'd gathered together, the cheap couch, the chipped dishes, the so-called life we built, still there. I stood in that silent apartment holding her note. And honestly, I wasn't even surprised. Not really. By then, I'd already seen it coming. Maybe I knew even before the lottery win. You spend enough years with someone, you learn their patterns. Maya started changing months back. Little things most people would miss, but not me. The way she smiled at her phone when she thought I wasn't watching. Not her old smile. This one was different. She got secretive. There was a buzz about her, like she had a secret she was dying to tell someone, but not me. And then the clothes. Out of nowhere, she started dressing differently. Suddenly, there were outfits in her closet I'd never seen before. She said she was just treating herself, that we could finally afford some nice things. But you know when something's not for you. These weren't for me. She dressed for someone else. Low-cut tops, jeans that fit tighter than anything she'd worn in years, perfume I didn't recognize. I'm not proud of what came next, but I can't say I regret it either. I started paying attention. Real attention. I checked our phone bill online. One number, over and over. Hundreds of texts a month, all starting back in March. I didn't recognize it, so I looked it up. Facebook gave me a name, Jason Kellerman, 34. Sales manager at some auto parts distributor in Loveland. He had that look, shirtless in his profile, clutching a beer at a lake party. I scrolled through his pictures. There was this group shot from a work barbecue in late 2023. That was right before Maya left her old job and started at the clinic last October. They'd worked together. She'd never once mentioned him. Not in all the talks we had about why she quit that place. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just her drifting away or going through something. She'd planned this. She was betraying me, and she meant every step. But here's the thing. I've spent 20 years in industrial maintenance. You learn fast that the worst thing you can do when something breaks is panic. You don't just start tearing stuff apart. You diagnose. You figure out exactly what's wrong before you make a move. So I didn't blow up. I didn't demand answers or start a fight. I kept it cool. Went to work, came home, made small talk like nothing was off. All the while, I built my case. The lottery money hadn't even landed in our account yet when I called Richard Brennan, a family law attorney in Denver who specializes in asset protection. Found him on some online forum for lottery winners. Yeah, that's a real thing, and yeah, the advice probably saved my skin. I need to protect an asset, I told him, sitting in my truck outside Lowe's, talking low even though no one was around. My wife's planning to leave. I'm almost sure of it, and I just won a lot of money. Richard didn't miss a beat. How much? $10 million before taxes, he paused. When did you win? About a week ago. The money's still with the Colorado lottery, going through verification. And how long have you been married? 11 years. Colorado's an equitable distribution state, he said, typing away in the background. That means marital assets get split fairly, not always 50-50, but your wife would have a strong claim to a big chunk. Then his tone got serious. If you can prove the lottery ticket came from your separate funds and that the winnings are your property, we can make a case. But we need to move, and it needs to be bulletproof. So for the next 2 weeks, Richard and I went over every detail. I found receipts showing I bought the ticket with my own paycheck before anything hit our joint account. We pulled together my purchase history, banking records, anything that could prove the ticket was mine, not ours. But Richard wasn't done. Colby, straight up, even with all this, a good divorce lawyer might argue you bought the ticket with marital funds. Colorado courts don't always side with us. We need something stronger. What do you suggest? I asked. We set up a Delaware LLC before the money hits your account. You assign the winnings straight to the LLC as your property. The company owns the asset, not you personally, and definitely not you and your wife together. That way, if she files for divorce, there's no marital asset to split. The LLC isn't community property. It's a business, and you control it. It sounded complicated, and it probably was. But I trusted Richard. And anyway, my gut told me Maya was already halfway gone. We called the company Raines Asset Holdings LLC. Richard filed the papers in Delaware. Apparently that's where you go if you want corporate protections nobody can poke holes in. The whole thing cost about $3,000 in fees and legal work. Nothing compared to what I could lose. By early July, less than 2 weeks later, it was done. The setup was airtight. When the Colorado Lottery Commission finally paid out, they made the check to the LLC. Not to me, not to any joint account. The money never touched anything Maya could get her hands on. After taxes, I ended up with about $6.5 million. I put $2.5 million into a safe investment account, conservative bonds, index funds. The kind of slow and steady stuff that doesn't make headlines, but doesn't disappear overnight either. Another $1.5 million went into a business savings account. I kept $500,000 on hand for whatever came up right away, and the rest sat in reserve. All of it locked down, all of it out of her reach. Through every bit of this, I kept my mouth shut. I came home every night, acted like nothing had changed. Maya asked questions now and then. Did the lottery people call? When's the money coming? I played dumb. They're still processing it. Lots of forms. Should be soon. She seemed okay with these answers. Or maybe she just had her mind on something else, like Jason. I found out about her plans the hard way. She'd stopped using our laptop as much, but one night in early August, she left it open on the kitchen table. I don't know if she got careless or if some part of her wanted me to stumble onto it. Either way, her Gmail was still open. One subject line jumped out. Confirmation. Grand Sierra Resort, Reno, Nevada. I clicked. Hotel reservation for 2. Check-in, September 15th. Check-out, September 22nd. 1 week, king bed suite, non-refundable. 2100, September 15th was about 6 weeks off. I scrolled further, there were more emails. Southwest flight confirmations. Searches for quickie divorces in Nevada. Apparently you can file after just 6 weeks of living there. She'd been plotting this for months. The timeline was obvious. Wait for me to get distracted with lottery stuff. Quietly set up residency in Nevada. File for divorce. Try to grab half. Only there was nothing left for her to grab. I'd made sure of that. I took screenshots of everything, sent them to Richard with a quick note. Found this. Looks like the timeline's speeding up. Then I cleared the browser history. When Maya came out of the bedroom 20 minutes later, I was on the couch watching the Rockies, acting like nothing was up. "You okay?" she asked, leaning in the doorway. "Yeah," I said, eyes on the game. "Just tired. Long week." She nodded, didn't sit down, just went back to the bedroom and closed the door. That was one of the last real talks we had. Maya left on a Tuesday, August 27th, 2024. I remember because I'd called off work, claimed I had a dentist appointment. I wanted to see if she'd say goodbye or just sneak out. She snuck out. I pretended to sleep while she moved quietly around the apartment, grabbing last-minute things. The sound of her suitcase zipper, her keys, and then the soft click of the front door closing. It echoed through the place. I got up, found the note, read it once, slipped it into a plastic sleeve, and took a bunch of photos. Evidence. Everything was evidence now. The apartment felt different without her. Emptier for sure, but also cleaner, like the place had been rinsed out. I made coffee and sat at the kitchen table waiting. I knew what was coming. It took 3 days. The first email landed Friday morning, August 30th. "Colby, I'm sorry for leaving like that. I just needed space to clear my head. This has all been so overwhelming. Can we talk?" I didn't reply. 2 more emails over the weekend, each one a little more desperate. "Please, Colby, I know I handled this badly. I just want to explain." "Then you're ignoring me and it's not fair. We need to discuss our situation. Our situation." That's what she called it. Not her betrayal. Not all those months planning to take me for everything. Just our situation. Monday, she called. Straight to voicemail. Her voice sounded thin, forced. "Colby, this is childish. We're adults. We have things to work out. Financial things. You can't just shut me out. Call me back." I deleted it. Tuesday, she switched tactics, a text. "I talked to a lawyer. I have rights. Half that lottery money is mine, and you know it. We can do this the easy way or the hard way." There it was. No more pretending about space. She wanted the money. I forwarded the text to Richard. He replied in 5 minutes. Perfect. She just documented her own motive. Don't respond. Let her keep digging. So she did. All week the messages got worse. Angry texts, voicemails. Sometimes I could actually hear Jason in the background feeding her lines. "Tell him you'll go public. Tell him you'll make it messy." One message really stuck with me. "I know you got the money already, Colby. I checked our joint account and there's nothing there. What did you do with it? That's marital property and you're hiding assets. My lawyer says that's illegal," her lawyer. She actually went out and hired someone, probably with money she didn't even have, thinking she'd hit the jackpot at the end. Honestly, I almost felt bad for the poor attorney who took her case. Almost. I didn't reply. Not once. Just dead silence, and I could feel it driving her nuts. Weirdly satisfying, honestly. Meanwhile, I kept moving forward. I started looking at houses in late August. Nothing flashy. Definitely not the oversized places Maya used to point at when she was daydreaming, but something that made sense. I found this small ranch-style place on 3 acres just outside Fort Collins near Leeport. Needed a lot of work. The roof was a mess, plumbing straight out of the 1970s, and the barn in the back was more rust than anything else. But it had good bones, and more importantly, it was mine. Just mine. They wanted $380,000 for it. I paid cash through the LLC and closed in 2 weeks, right around mid-September. The deed never had Maya's name on it. It didn't even have mine, not directly. Raines Asset Holdings LLC was the official owner. At the same time, I started working on something I'd had in my head for years, an automotive repair shop and trade school. The idea was to teach real mechanical skills to at-risk kids, the ones who'd slipped through the cracks, who needed a shot and some hands-on knowledge that could actually land them a job. I'd seen too many good people stuck in dead-end lives just because no one ever taught them a trade. I leased a place in Old Town Fort Collins in September, a body shop that shut down during the pandemic. Rent was $4,500 a month, which wasn't bad for the space. The equipment was old but still worked. I hired 2 instructors, both retired union mechanics with teaching certifications, and we started pulling in students through the local high schools and the county youth services department. This wasn't about the money. Not really. The money was just a tool, a way to finally do something that mattered. Maya never got that. She thought winning the lottery was all about buying stuff, showing off, living large. She never understood that for me, It was about freedom. The freedom to actually build something real. By early October, we had the shop up and running. 12 students in our first class, learning everything from oil changes to reading diagnostic codes. I was right there with them most days, still wearing my old boots and jeans stained with grease, happier than I'd been in years. Then Maya's lawyer called. Dennis Pritchard. The guy sounded tired before he even started. Mr. Raines, my name is Dennis Pritchard from Pritchard & Associates here in Fort Collins. I represent Maya Raines in her divorce proceedings. I'm calling as a professional courtesy before we file formal paperwork. Okay, I said. I was sitting in my truck outside the shop and put him on speaker so I could take notes. It was October 10th. Your wife is seeking dissolution of marriage and equitable division of assets, specifically the lottery winnings you received in July. Our understanding is you won approximately $10 million under Colorado law. I cut him off, kept my voice steady. Mr. Pritchard, before you go any further, you should talk to my attorney, Richard Brennan, out of Denver. I think you'll find the situation isn't quite what your client described. He paused. Your attorney? Yeah, Richard Brennan. I'll text you his contact info. He'll explain the asset structure. But just so you know, there are no marital assets to divide. The lottery winnings went to a business entity as separate property before any deposits were made. Everything's legal. It's all documented. Longer pause this time. I could practically hear him recalculating his odds. I see. Well, we'll certainly reach out to Mr. Brennan, but I should inform you that concealment or improper transfer of marital assets is a serious matter in Colorado courts. If you've attempted to hide, I haven't hidden anything, I said. I protected my separate property using legitimate legal structures. There's a difference. Mr. Brennan will provide all the paperwork. Have a good day, Mr. Pritchard. I hung up. 10 minutes later, Richard called me. Dennis Pritchard just got in touch. Honestly, he sounds like he knows what he's doing. He's going to hate this case once he sees the paperwork. Look, Colby, I want you to be ready for this. She's not going to roll over. She'll say the LLC is a sham, that you set it up just to cheat her out of what's hers. Her lawyer will push hard for the court to pierce the corporate veil and call the assets marital property anyway. Can they pull that off? They'll try, but we did everything by the book. The LLC was already set up before the money ever hit the account. You've got real business reasons for it, and you actually run businesses through it. The kicker? You bought the lottery ticket with your own separate income. We can prove that. We're standing on solid ground. This is going to cost her a fortune, and she's not going to win. He was right. Over the next 6 weeks, I watched as Maya's case just crumbled. Pritchard filed for divorce on October 17th and tried to get the lottery winnings marked as marital property. Richard fired back with a 30-page brief, financial records, corporate docs, case law. He even threw in screenshots of Maya's emails and texts, showing she left the marriage on her own, and that she knew that money was set apart as separate property. The judge wasn't impressed. At a hearing in late November, I was there in person. Maya sat 3 rows back, behind her attorney, looking smaller than she ever had. She wouldn't look at me. No sign of Jason either, which I noticed right away. Judge Patricia Hernandez, no nonsense, probably early 60s, scanned the documents and grilled Pritchard. So, counselor, you're saying your client's entitled to assets held by a business she doesn't own? Your Honor, we believe the LLC was created to hide marital assets. And you have what evidence besides your client's word? Pritchard hesitated. The timing, Your Honor. The LLC was formed just days before the lottery deposit, after the win was verified, before the money moved. But the business has real, ongoing operations, right? Richard stood up. Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Raines runs 2 active businesses through Raines Asset Holdings, a vocational training center and a rental property. Both make money. Both serve real business purposes. This isn't just about asset protection. Judge Hernandez nodded, not missing a beat. Let me be clear, Mr. Pritchard. This looks like a legit business, set up for proper legal reasons. If your client thinks she gets the lottery winnings just because the ticket was bought during the marriage, you'll need more than suspicious timing to convince me to ignore a legal corporate structure. Motion denied. We'll move forward with the divorce as usual. The LLC's off the table. I saw Maya's shoulders drop. She leaned in, whispered something to Pritchard, but he shook his head. The divorce wrapped up in late January 2025. No contest, no drama, no showdown in court. Maya signed the papers through her lawyer on January 29th. After that November hearing, I never saw her again. The settlement was simple. We each kept what was in our own name, split whatever was in the old apartment 50-50, and went our own ways. She got her car, the old 2013 Civic with 140,000 miles and a transmission on its last legs. I kept my truck, a 2018 F-150 with 70,000 miles. We had no shared debt by then. I'd quietly paid everything off months earlier with the LLC's help, even her $28,000 in student loans. She never knew. I just wanted it all clean, no loose threads. The apartment lease was in my name, so I kept it for another month while I finished moving to the ranch. Maya moved in with her sister in Glay, about 30 miles northeast. I only heard that from mutual friends, though those friendships were fading fast. People get weird when a marriage ends, especially when it's obvious who screwed up. They pick sides or just disappear. Most disappeared. As for Jason, he vanished from Maya's life even faster than he showed up. I found out by accident in late February. Tom Hendris, an old co-worker now managing inventory at the auto distributor where Jason worked, ran into me at Ace Hardware. After a little small talk, Tom dropped it. "Hey, you hear about Jason Kellerman?" He was tossing bags of concrete in his cart. I played dumb. "Name sounds familiar, why?" Tom just shook his head. "Used to work for us. Got fired in December. Turns out he'd been using the company card for personal stuff, flights, hotels, dinners. All told, he burned through about 15 grand before accounting finally caught on during the year-end review. They took him to court. He took a plea deal last month. Now he's on the hook for restitution and 2 years probation." I didn't react, just nodded, like it was some neighborhood rumor and not a big deal. But inside something settled. Not satisfaction exactly, but this quiet sense that, yeah, the universe keeps its own books. Things even out. "He was seeing someone, I think," Tom went on. "Some woman. Heard she dumped him when the job went south. Can't blame her. Who wants to date a guy up on theft charges?" I just said, "Yeah, that's rough." Didn't bother telling Tom the woman was my ex-wife. Didn't seem worth it. By spring 2025, the trade school was really moving. We'd grown to 24 students and kicked off a welding program. 2 of our first grads already landed apprenticeships at local plants, $22 an hour plus benefits. One kid, Marcus, told me it was the first real job he'd ever had. He was 19, dropped out at 16, bounced around fast food joints, slept on his mom's couch. Now he was building something. One afternoon in April, as we were closing up, he said, "Mr. Raines, I just want you to know this place changed my life. I was headed nowhere, man. Now I got something. That's what all the money was for. Not houses or cars or trying to impress anybody, just this." Giving someone like Marcus a real shot. I'd started dating again too, but slowly. Her name was Lisa. She was a vet tech I met in March when I brought in a stray dog. 38, divorced, teenage daughter. We met up for coffee, then dinner, then a few more dinners. Nothing rushed. Nothing complicated. Just 2 people who'd been knocked around a little, seeing where it went. She knew about the lottery, about Maya. I laid it all out from the start. "I'm not looking for someone to spend my money," I told her on our 3rd date. "I want someone who would have liked me when I was broke." Lisa just smiled. "Good, I'm not impressed by money. I'm impressed by people who fix things." I liked her. A lot. Then in early May, something weird showed up in my mailbox. Just a plain white envelope, no return address, postmarked from Glay. Inside was a basic grocery store card with a watercolor flower. No signature, just 1 sentence handwritten. I recognized it right away. "You won." I stared at it for a long time, sitting on my porch, spring wind carrying the smell of pine and fresh grass. I wondered what those words meant. Was it surrender? Bitterness? Some final jab? In the end, I decided it didn't matter. She was right, I had one, but not for the reasons she thought. Not because I kept the money. Not because she ended up alone while I started over. I won because I trusted my gut when it counted, protected myself when I needed to, and walked away when she stopped valuing me. The real victory was realizing I didn't need her to be miserable for me to be happy. I just needed her gone. I tossed the card. Didn't keep it, didn't snap a photo, didn't add it to any file. It wasn't evidence anymore. Just the last word in a conversation that was already over. Life marched on. We added a 3rd program at the trade school in June, HVAC repair and install. Partnered with Front Range Community College to offer certification courses. Pretty soon we had a waiting list. I brought on another instructor, Janet, who'd spent 30 years in residential construction before retiring. She was tough as nails, and the students ate it up. The ranch house came together in fits and starts that spring and summer. In May, I replaced the roof myself. Some of the students wanted to learn carpentry, so they helped out. We rebuilt the barn in June and July, turned it into a workshop and storage. Got chickens in August, why not? 6 hens, more eggs than I could eat. I started handing them out to students, sending them home with cartons every week. Sometimes I thought about Maya, where she was, what she was up to, whether she ever thought about how things might have gone. Over time, those thoughts faded. Eventually, they just stopped. One evening in late September, about 15 months after the lottery, I sat on my porch watching the sunset. Lisa was next to me. Her daughter was inside somewhere, streaming Netflix. The cicadas were loud, the air was heavy and warm, and for once everything felt solid, like I'd actually earned it. I turned 46 back in July, and honestly, life felt better than ever. You seem happy, Lisa said. Watching me, I am, I told her. She squeezed my hand. And I meant it. Good, you deserve it. Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. But either way, I built something worth holding on to. Not because I tore someone else down, but because I wouldn't let anyone tear me down. That's the real lesson, isn't it? When people show you who they are, believe them. When they try to take what's yours, protect it. And when they finally leave, don't bother celebrating their defeat. Just live better than they ever imagined you would. After that last card, Maya vanished. No more texts, no awkward run-ins at the grocery store, nothing. She just faded, like she was never really here. And honestly, that was fine. More than fine. People spend years chasing revenge, plotting ways to hurt the people who hurt them. I get why, but I found something better. Real revenge. It's indifference. It's building a life so full and good, you forget they were ever a part of it. So here I am. My name's Colby Raines. I'm 46. I run a trade school that matters. I've got a small ranch and a life I'm proud of. I sleep well. I help people. I'm with someone who loves me for who I am, not what I own. And the woman who tried to ruin me? She's just a name in an old story. That's how it ends. No epic showdown, no dramatic closure, just me moving forward. She gets smaller and smaller in the rear view until she's gone. If you like this story, hit that like button and leave a comment. I'd love to hear what you think. And if you haven't already, subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching. See you soon.